Hello, my lovely fellow neurodivergents. Today is the Hello, my lovely fellow divergents. Today is the premiere of Deep Cuts, where we go into the albums of life and look for those deep cuts of interest. Today, Rob Campbell, public school educator, filmmaker, composer, and all-around Renaissance man. We veered off a little bit from music to talk about public education in the U.S., which is something that he has a completely different perspective on than I do, which is fascinating. I want to apologize too for the sound. We tried this 3 different times and still have a lot to learn about streaming apparently. So, without further ado, I think the conversation is worth it, even without sound being as good as it could be. Without further ado, let's get into it. Bye.
Hello, everybody. This is Cameron at Group 4 Music, and I'm here with my old friend, Mr. Rob Campbell. And Rob, we've been trying to do this for a while. We've had some difficulties, but we're here now. Please tell us about what you do. Your amazing, interesting life.
So my main stock and trade in professionally is I'm a teacher. So I've been an educator for 30 years. I'll retire in about 4 years. And at the same time, I want these last 4 years to be my best, my most exciting. I want to love what I do. So I don't want to count down, but I do want to retire. So in those years that I've been teaching, I mostly taught video production and filmmaking. I've been producing. In that time, I've made a few films. I've made a few documentary pieces. But last year, I got to produce a film with help from some friends and students at Gavilan College in Gilroy. I made a film called Self-Loathing, Sobriety in the Multiverse. And that's a film about a recovering alcoholic who winds up falling into the multiverse and coming back face-to-face with his drunk self, which if the laws of quantum physics applied, he shouldn't be able to do that, but he did. And what could go wrong with drunk self and sober self getting together? So I did that somewhere around COVID times, the year that we had COVID and the shutdowns. I had some time on my hands, and I was teaching from home on Zoom like we're on now. And there's a guitar sitting around my house that we'd bought for my son. And he at the time was taking music at the high school. And he could play about anything we put in his hands, but strings were not his thing. So he really didn't want to use the guitar that we got for him, so I used it. And I had played in high school for a little bit, but never took it seriously, didn't take lessons, never really improved. And so I picked it back up again 5 years ago and took lessons and got better and improved and wrote some songs and had a good time. And so in the last year and a half, I've produced a couple of pieces that are on Spotify. So I have a song called Mikey's Blues, and that's a kind of a country sounding piece about a guy's cellmate at prison. And that was inspired by Bobby McGee, which was written by Chris Christopherson, but was made famous by Janis Joplin, of course. And then what else? It sort of was inspired by, in the same 24 hours, I also heard Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash. So somehow those two things got together in my head. And what usually happens for me when I come up with a song is it's 4 a.m, and I wake up going, oh, I got to go write this down. And so that's how that song came together. And by the time I left for work, I had a decent piece of music to work with. And so I recorded that a year and a half ago. And in April, I had a surgery. And before I went to surgery, I was trying to record a song I wrote called Calendars. And
by the way, you guys should check it out on Spotify. Go ahead, Craig.
It's an all right piece of music, man. It's decent. And on that piece, I pushed beyond what it was with Mikey's Blues, because I did not just the guitar, but also some keyboard working that I'm pretty happy with. And that's kind of a new addition. And I find keyboard's actually a lot easier to pick up than guitar, because you can see where all the notes are. And so I can play. I guess I'm a dual instrumentalist. That's kind of cool. And so Calendars is about one of those old times that comes back to bug you, like something that, some old memories that just don't want to get out of your head. And so That's got the keys and the guitar on it. It's really happy with that piece. And then while I was in the hospital in April for open heart surgery to repair an aneurysm in my aortic root, I had some pretty spooky experiences with coming out of surgery, or not coming out of surgery, but not really being coherent for a couple of days. And so I had some mildly paranoid times. And apparently I was still decent to the nurses, because when I started getting my wits about me again, I asked, hey, I hope I've been kind to you, because I was really paranoid and hoped I kept my mouth shut because I wasn't sure. And so apparently I was decent, but 8 days later, they moved me to a regular room, and I was able to take my experience of being in intensive care and turn it into a song called ICU Delirium, which is it's an actual condition. So if you look up ICU delirium, it actually is a thing. But I turned it into ICU delirium, and so we're working on that still. Nice. And that's my friend Josh Lopez was in a band in LA called the Sly Diggs, and so he's the bass player on that. And then his old bandmate from Sly Diggs, drummer Greg Zuniga, does the drums on Calendars, and he'll also be doing the drums on ICU Delirium. So yeah, working out the music.
Well, Rob, I want to keep this for everybody's sake. Not the least of which yours. Keep this short and snappy, or the appropriate length and snappy. I want to ask you. You inspired me to ask you a question about. This is Education Channel, and this is a little bit off topic. The Music Education Channel. This is a little bit off topic, more in the general education area. My experience and my wife's experience in education has been almost overwhelmingly negative. I was in the game for like 12 years. I did a job similar to yours. I taught music tech. I worked in a what did we call it back in the day? Alternative ed. Are they still calling it that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I worked in alternative ed. And then nowadays, I've been in and out of the system, subbing and doing some, I was going to say consulting, that's a little grandiose. So I'm working in the schools. And then with all the things going on in the world right now, we're recording this in October of 2025. I don't see much future for education, as ever public education as we know it, from my perspective. You, however, have this great, if I was just talking to you, I would not think the world was in the state it's in educationally. So am I and there's all this stuff on YouTube and TikTok where all the teachers are quitting. Gen Alpha is going nuts. They're unteachable. I'm not saying any of that is true. That's what I heard. That particular is true. That's what I heard on YouTube. What's your experience of that, about education in general, in the overall sense of that?
Well, not everybody's an educator, and not every educator is perfect, So the perspective I bring to it is really about 30 years of surviving in the system, and I don't even know if surviving is the right term. It's just been a time of growth for me. I've never been perfect at it. Sometimes patience has been an issue for me, but I think that at the place that I'm in, and certainly COVID had a big impact on education, because students got disconnected, and there were some behavior issues after that, and some engagement issues. And so for me right now, where I'm at, I have never had the kind of success I'm having right now in the classroom before. And there's two things going on. Some of it is, I think, the growth and development of students post-COVID and getting to a place where they're more willing and able to learn, and they're then reacclimated back into education. I think that's true, and I also think that for me, the place that I'm in, both post-COVID and 30 years in my profession and 6 months out of this intense heart surgery I had, that I am in a much mellower place than I've ever been. And so my teaching is going tremendously right now. Engagement is up. I've also been adopting some techniques that I'd love to sort of sing the praises of. There's an organization called Q, and Q stands for Computer Using Educators. And I picked up some techniques from them at a couple of
Now, is
conferences.
that
I will say
Q
this.
as getting Q or QUE? CUE, I mean. Or
CUE.
CUE, okay.
Yeah,
Please continue.
Computer Using Educators. And there's a guy named John Carippo who was a public school educator in Coors Gold, which is down by Yosemite. And he started bringing together a lot of techniques that people were using and getting the word out there and doing these conferences. So he's all over the country teaching this stuff. And it took me a few applications, a few repeated exposures to it to go, oh, I can use this. Because I teach something, a lot of people using these things called edu protocols are teaching math, science, English. And I teach, filmmaking. And I'm like, maybe this doesn't apply to me. So I misunderstood what computer using educators is about. Because I'm like, I use computers all the time. I can do all these cool, grandiose, wild things and make applications.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't about that. It's about how do we use education to enhance and support learning and engagement. And so as I started engaging these strategies in my classroom, I found the engagement went up, learning went up. Kids were happier because they felt more proficient. So there's some things that these edu protocols do. I'm doing a workshop Monday with John Carippo and some people from the high school where I teach to promote some simple techniques. And one that I use every day is called Thin Slides. With Thin Slides, we use a slides presentation in Google, give all the students access to it, and they do you got 4 minutes to do this thing. You have 3 minutes to do this thing. Address a topic. It's usually not connected to what we're learning that day. It's just like some, pair of shoes or like, your favorite food or, you got to put some words and your name and a picture up there. And it's a quick engagement thing. So bang, I was successful. I got that thing done. I get to walk around the classroom and talk to all the students and check in with them. There's connectivity in there. We have some laughs in the process. There's just checking in. And the other techniques I'm using are similar. They're aimed at making learning seem easy, and learning does not need to be impossible. Learning. I want them to think that my class is easy and fun, and it helps that I have an elective. So there's that. But not all students chose my class. Some of them got put there because of scheduling or whatever. And so at the same time, I still have reasonably good engagement, good learning. One of the hardest things I teach is how to edit using Adobe Premiere. And my success rate with that went from somewhere between 30 and 50% of my students learned how to edit effectively with Adobe Premiere. And because of the techniques I learned with Q and edu protocols, it went up to like 90, 95, 100% of my students can do that now.
Astounding. Astounding. And I think this is probably a topic for another podcast. This is a different perspective for me than I've heard for a long time about the state of play in education in general. So thank you for that perspective. Let me ask you about, I think the topic of my channel is about creativity and learning to improvise, and particularly people who are, one half of my target audience is people who are returning to music or coming to it later in life, and the common theme is, well, I'm too old, it's too late, I'll never do anything. And you also used the word that amateur. You said this is very amateur. That is, do you know the etymology or the background, the roots of the word amateur?
No, I don't.
It's French, amateur, and its root meaning, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but amateur, something like that. The point is that it means someone who does something for the love of it. It doesn't mean someone who does something of low quality because they're not as good at it.
Okay.
Because they love it.
Yeah.
So I really like that definition of the word. So how do you tell us about your perspective of I know music is not a new thing to you, but keyboards and songwriting, the kind of production is new to you. How do you feel about that, and how did you come to that as a performer?
Well, I heard you talk about people who come into it late in life, and I've found a few examples out there of people who have inspired me to not give up on this, because I feel like I'm 58 years old, and if I haven't got it now, if I haven't already done it now, it's too late. And that's not true. And
No, it's not. It is.
there's a
Sorry, go ahead.
artist, there's an artist from New Jersey I found named Erica Sugar, and that's Erica with a K. She has a new album that came out. I'm not gonna remember the name of it, but it's Many Feathers or something like that. So she has a song there called Parkway Queen, and the album is called we've got this. Anyway, Parkway Queen, July, Like a Wave, and she's got B3 on there, real rock blues kind of a sound. And
Yes.
she started writing songs as she describes on her page, being a closet songwriter, and then somewhere in her 40s she started producing and gigging and playing. And so she's making a living at it now. She's on her third or fourth album.
Nice.
Tremendous music, amazing voice. There's a B3 player on there who's also played with Eric Lindell, so she's working with professionals. She herself is a professional, obviously. And, there are a couple of other performers out there that have come to music late in life and are producing EPs and doing the work. And so it's never too late, and it's just a matter of, as you say, the amateur being for the love of it. I do this because I love it.
Yep.
And I can't not do it. You knew me when I was drawing cartoons, and here we got Keep Up with Jones right up here.
Yeah.
I quit doing that. I stopped drawing, and part of it was because I quit riding motorcycles, and I couldn't. While I went through that transition, I couldn't draw them. I could still draw them pretty good, but I didn't want to. As I made a decision to stop writing, I didn't want to keep waving that in front of my face. And so what happened was there's always that creative force within me.
Sure.
And, I'm lucky enough to have that. Not everybody's got that, but that's how songs started coming out was, those things that lurk up at, and I feel better about music, and I feel more successful about music than I did about that comic strip I did.
Really?
I feel like I'm closer to my heart. I'm really expressing what's inside me and my soul. I feel like I can do this.
I love it.
No matter what changes happen in my life, I'm always going to be able to play music. And I met a guy a couple weeks ago who lives in the East San Francisco Bay, I think, and I think he was a trumpet player and a bass player, and he gigs. He's done some things, but as he gets older, he's got less stamina. So he talked about how many songs he'd be able to get through a set before he kind of got exhausted at 78 years old. And I'm like,
holy moly!
So I'm like, I get 20 years. What can I do in 20 years, or 25 or 30, whatever happens? Because there's definitely people that, I think I saw. I want to say about a year ago, maybe. I saw, I have all these Stanford memories that get mixed up. Part of it's surgery, and part of it's this concert I saw. So I saw, Green Onions guy. The show was actually for Van Morrison, but the warm-up act was
Booker T.
Booker T and the MGs.
Yeah.
And that was just absurd, man. I love it. I love the B3. And, so I'm pretty sure in his 80s and still killing it musically, and can get through a whole show and do the job. So, but it's a matter of wherever I'm at, I've got to find a way to create and produce and develop. And I think I've been a creative person all my life, whether it was poetry or art. I've painted a few things, I've drawn a couple things, and really what turns out what does it for me is the music. So
I love that.
Guitar, keyboard, we'll see where it goes.
I love that. It's interesting. We're in a time of great upheaval in our society, and not just what's going on in the U.S. or world is in a state about people, AI,
Yeah.
and whatnot going, what's going on. And two people that I've been interested in are Dan Coe, who talks a lot about the future and the importance of being a generalist in the future. That's going to be, being a generalist is going to be the new killer app as a human being.
Yeah.
And so people like us are going to be well positioned, hopefully, to navigate the future. Because, yeah, I'm getting up there and I don't have a lot of savings, so I'm going to have to work. And yeah, so that's really interesting. I sort of dovetailed that in there. Oh, the other, Rick Rubin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's probably not to everyone's taste, but his books sure inspired me to do some stuff. Uh-oh, I think we lost him. You're really not to everybody's taste. What's on?
This book is by Rick Rubin.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great book.
I haven't read it yet, but I feel like it's just short readings. Like, you know,
yeah,
if I just read a little bit of it every day.
Chunks, it's beautiful. Yes, kind of like Zen, kind of like a Zen book, very short little things you can digest over time. That's awesome. That's all. Well, I think you'll find it most inspiring.
Great.
Yeah, not to everyone's taste, but certainly to mine. Okay, let's see, what else did I write down? We're talking about, well, I want to talk to you about the film. I was confused earlier. I'm sure I saw your film. I just remember, was the intro in black and white, or did you have a black and white trailer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, never.
You know, I produced the film, and I had somebody else edit it for me before I went to surgery. And so a lot of things I had before surgery. No, it's nothing black and white. The title slide is black and white, but the film is all in color.
Well, I apologize, but I do remember it being very cinematic looking.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you achieve that cinematic?
I worked with the course I teach is dual enrolled with the local community college, and so my students get credit at college for taking my high school class.
Cool.
And as a result of that, I'm connected with the guy that teaches film over here, Grant Richards and Tim Allen, and a couple of pretty tremendous filmmakers. They've been doing this for a while, and it was kind of a professional development for me. So I wrote the film, and what I did is I broke out a bunch of index cards and wrote out the main beats of the film and the story, and then I wrote the script in the screenplay format, and then I went to Grant, and he was like, let's produce this. And his goal was a 12-minute film. That's about the as far as they want to go. And so we clocked out some time, and he uses top-end cameras. He uses the red camera. So red camera resolution, you know, like more resolution than I know what to do with.
That explains a lot right there.
Yeah.
It had that look.
Yeah, and you know, you can make a film. You muted. Oh, you got quiet somehow. But the red camera, you can do that with an iPhone, really. I mean, it really is about storytelling and other tools. But so having access to that was amazing, and also having his students, and you know, a lot of his students just keep taking his classes over and over again because they can produce films, and a lot of his students also wind up getting into the business. And you know, there's some students in the East San Francisco Bay that have a production company that makes commercials, and you know, so he teaches professional skills, professional editing, and the kids, well, they're not kids, they're young adults, and they just did amazing work with my script. So I went to a premiere of something that they'd done at the college, and I went over and immediately met the guy that stars in the film, Noah, and he was in a different film and acts a lot, and so I found my actors, and I had some friends that were in it, and I used some locations around Hollister to shoot it. And the experience of the production was typically they try to produce in one day, but I think we shot on a Friday and a Saturday, maybe part of a Sunday, I can't remember. But we shot at a local fishing lake. There's a pay-to-fish lake that let us use their lake to shoot, and we shot at a store in Tres Pinos, the small town south of here. You know, we shot at a community building that holds meaning, since the film covers some topics of recovery. It was held in a recovery room. We shot it at I want to say the Elks Lodge in Gilroy, Lodge on the Hill, and there's a bar in there, since that's one of the scenes takes place in the bar. And so we had all this help from students and other filmmakers. There's another filmmaker, Trevor Rock, who's made some films that are largely westerns and short films, and he's won some awards. And so he helped us out with the bar shoot. And another filmmaker, David Butterfield, makes a lot of westerns also with his sons. And so he's got some work, and he showed up for some of it. He and his boys were both in the film. And just the process of taking the vision I had, I don't remember how I thought of the idea, but now I'm starting to get interested in ideas of films that connect recovery from drugs and alcohol with science fiction.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, one of my favorite film genres is I love time travel. So TV show Continuum, 12 Monkeys, and all those kinds of things that bend your brains a little bit, and
yeah, absolutely,
and then being able to connect that. So I have a plan for another film. I'm not going to get into it right now, but I have a plan for my next film. I just bought a stack of index cards so I can.
Very good. He's ready.
Start putting it together.
That's right. Now, where can people look up your film? And other work, we'll definitely put essay in the description below. But yeah, let us know where we can check your stuff out.
Self-Loathing is on YouTube. So if you want, I can email you a link to it.
Yeah, you can do that later, but after we're done. But yeah, I'll look this up. Or you might. It's on YouTube. Where would people search? Because they're not gonna. You don't want to see a link out on video.
If they search
the description,
self-loathing and sobriety, you'll find it. Now, self-loathing will find you a lot of other things, but self-loathing and sobriety will take you right to my film.
Now you might want to take that as a warning out there.
Never know.
But ladies and gents, and what about your other work? Your Spotify is under your name, Rob.
So I've got Spotify under Rob Campbell, and if you search for a good way to get right to my page, I've got 2 songs on there, soon to be 3. If you search Mikey's Blues and Rob Campbell, you'll find my material there.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead and email me those links when we're done, and I'll make sure they get on the description. Now, people watch the channel are going to be upset if I don't ask you about the 2 guitars tonight. Did I get muted again, Rob?
Yeah. You're back. Oh, you're muted again.
Oh, am I back now?
You're good.
Okay. So I was saying people who watch this channel, they're going to want to know about those guitars behind you.
What's the question?
The guitars behind you?
Oh, yeah. So this one here is a Mitchell. I'm not really sure what the model is. I got it for a pretty cheap price to me at Guitar Center for like $425. It was probably on sale, but you don't have to have an expensive guitar to play music. I do have somewhere in here. I've got a $100 Fender that gets out of tune easily, but it was a good starter for me.
Oh yeah.
The electric we have over here is a G&L Stratocaster.
Oh, it's G&L.
I bought that from a friend of mine who's got. I know a guy who's a local guitar player, and he plays a ton. He's got like 20 guitars, and he talked me into that one for, I think, $800 or $900. It's a good deal. It's a good guitar, solid instrument.
Yeah. Oh, gee, hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
can't go wrong.
I got the 10-minute warning a couple of minutes ago, so
Okay.
I'm going to try and start a tradition on this show. You're going to be the first one to do it. So I got a couple of questions here. So, Rob, if you had a magic wand that was only good for one wish, what would you do with it?
Well, let me keep this away from politics and national state how they are right now.
Fair enough.
You know, it's tough because I want something selfish for myself, like a new keyboard, but I think I want to do something for other people because that's always more satisfying. And that's probably going to be probably something for the community, you know, a food kitchen or something that helps more people than just me.
Love it. Love it. All right. And so then on the opposite side of that, what would you say is your X factor? Now you brag.
What's an X factor? You mean a superpower?
Yeah. What that one thing that makes you? Yeah. Exactly.
Well, at the risk of breaking my enemy, I don't have to say it's my sobriety. You know, I've been
Good one.
continuously sober for 30 years. I wake up inside every day. You know, that's certainly a superpower because it overcomes my propensity for a different direction.
Absolutely. And just full transparency, I just had my 7-year birthday, so
Yeah.
Rob and I are both in the same boat. Thanks. And the final of the trifecta of questions is what? Well, let's see. How do we make this a little bit fun? What's the one thing you most want to say to the world on this platform? You have 15 seconds to think about it.
Be kind to others, no matter what. Be patient, breathe, and allow people to be different than you.
Oh, that's so good. But so especially, they were all good, but especially that last one. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on and being so patient with everything, and for telling us all that good stuff. And don't forget to look in the links below or Rob's stuff. Oh, before, Rob, have we ever met in person? I don't think we have we?
We never have. It's all been remote.
Yeah, we met when Rob got acquainted when Rob was doing the cartoons, right? For the
you wrote an article about me for a magazine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Patty and I were working at the magazine, so
yeah,
freelancing at the magazine. All right. Well, thanks again, Mr. Rob.